All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Freezin for NFC North Podcast, episode 131, April Fools. We just passed April Fool's Day, so we have to talk a little bit about that. Biggest division team roster holes prior to the 2020 NFL draft, and a lot of things great going on. Thanks for everyone for joining us. Obviously, as we're getting started, you can find me on NFL Outdated on YouTube, on Twitter X. You can find us on Freezin #4 Pod on the TikTok. And welcome back again, Miles. Where can everyone find you as we get started?
Good evening. Good evening. You can find me on the Packers Talk Network YouTube channel every Monday night, streaming live 9:30 p.m. Central. We are talking Pack. Right now we're in full-on draft season, so yes, we got plenty of stuff to talk about. Just team building in general, man. So yeah, come check us out. Go Pack, go!
It's coming up. It's coming up real quick. I mean, we're in the month of the draft, so we're going to be talking about that, and I'm excited to be on site for that. Definitely excited to hear a lot of your takes on some of these players coming up as well. And we will, I believe, have Skullman Sports coming on very soon as well. But before we get to that, seventh letter, where can everyone find you? Plus, what are you wearing and why?
Oh yeah, seventh letter 4 on Twitter X, same OG on Instagram and Facebook. Top of the NFC North and still. And today I got on the Kobe because that was I just want to I'm gonna bust his ass so bad. That's the thing. Like it's gonna be like we don't like each other. I think I'm gonna repay him for the way he talked to me after we came back on him in Detroit 2 years ago, and he lost.
Oh yes, yeah, you're taking receipts.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to channel that. Like, what's wrong with him? He all right? Yeah.
That was not good. Yes,
he's got some real receipts.
Oh my god!
The NFL Outdated Revolution will be televised. It will be.
Yes, it will. Oh man, yes, it will.
Skullman, where can everyone find you as we get started?
Yeah, you can hit me up on X, Twitter, or Blue Sky, or Facebook at Skullman Sports.
Very good. Definitely like and subscribe. All this. Plus, maybe we need to put a poll up. Like, how many points do our listeners and followers think that I would score versus seventh letter? Now, just to give you the stats here, I am a 5'10.5". I got the half there, and I am actually around 215. Oh no, probably about 210 right now. About 210. So, what are your stats there? Seventh letter.
6'5", 230 pounds.
All right.
I can't really dunk no more. I would have to get like a full head of steam, which I'll probably be able to get.
I have to say that I can dunk. In my dreams. I
was saying, what dunking what?
I don't need to dunk when I've got my fadeaway and all that stuff. Hey,
what you gonna do with my fadeaway?
Well, hey, I didn't.
I just finished some young boys that work at the hospital this week. You know that, right?
You're getting all your aggression out on them. I appreciate that.
Talking crazy, just like you.
Well, speaking of talking crazy, obviously, we talk about division. Obviously, every team has some type of hole, but Miles, you scoffed at that and you said your team is ready for the Super Bowl. So let's go ahead and kind of dive into some of the needs for the Packers, and we'll just call them depth needs. How about that? Depth for the Packers.
Yeah, depth needs. Yeah, I mean, look, we got a lot of talent, and Goot has spoken again recently, right? A lot of people think that pass rush is a need, and the GM says otherwise, man. He says they got the players on the roster, and I think that's a direct indictment against the coaching last season, particularly the one who's not there anymore and has been already replaced. But I would love to see another pass rusher added to this group. That's one of those positions I don't think you can have enough. Injuries are always a thing. I mean, as the Lions found out last season, y'all just, my gosh, you endured a lot of injuries. You almost made it. yeah, you just can't have enough, good bodies at that position. So I'd love to see another quality pass rusher added in the draft. I don't think you need to go find a veteran through a trade or through free agency or anything at this point. But pass rushers one for sure. I think there's a lot of folks looking for more bodies at receiver. It's not my highest priority, but it is one of those where I think it's gonna be a hard draft to not add one of these guys. There's a lot of good value, I think, at the receiver position in this draft. And then the O-line, man, the O-line is where that's my top priority for the Packers this offseason is get out there, add more bodies to the guard position, they just solidified the center position by moving Elton Jenkins there. I don't know if y'all caught that. That was one of their little announcements this week. So he's moving to center. He'll solidify that position. You got Tom at right tackle. You got Rasheed Walker at left tackle. They bring in Aaron Banks, so he's going to take up one of those guard spots, and then you've got a nice little battle for the right guard spot or the other guard spot. I would love to see another quality rookie come in, maybe a late first, early second round guy, one of those interior guys. I really would not mind that at all. Or one of those tackles. I mean, Rasheed Walker is kind of a question mark at left tackle for the future. So I wouldn't be surprised if they added another tackle early in the draft. But one thing, I brought this up a lot. I usually bring this up. Goot has a pattern. And the positions that he prioritizes in free agency, he prioritizes early in the draft. So just something to keep an eye on. It was cornerback and O-line that he went with there. I think personally that Jair will be a Green Bay Packer this year. So cornerback is not one that I think is as high of a priority as maybe others think. And I really am not a big fan of this cornerback draft, to be honest. It's a little weak for me. There's definitely some guys. There's, it's not like there's nobody out there, but so I'm more optimistic about the guys they have in the room already, the DB room, the safeties and corners. Those are my positions that I'm looking at, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I do admire how the Packers have drafted. And like, if you say like the Packers need a wide receiver here or there, I feel like they have been able to pluck some no-name receiver here or there and at least make them relevant within that wide receiver room. And so that's, and I don't know within Packer fandom if it's changed a little bit with defensively. Some of the things, obviously, Edgerrin Cooper was a nice pickup, but then my guy out of Iowa, he's kind of been a bust so far. So I don't know if, is there a little chatter that maybe there's not as much trust in Goot on some of the drafting, or is it just complete 100%? What to do, or he knows what to do in the draft room.
Yeah, it's kind of a polarizing issue. There's the in Goot we trust crowd. I'm probably the leader of that fan club right now. And then there's the others that his first round picks always suck and this and that. My stance on that is you can't evaluate a GM necessarily on everything that happens after he's made the decision. You got to evaluate the decision. Was it the right decision at the time? And yeah, sometimes the things that happen afterwards are what validate that or not. But guys getting hurt, Eric Stokes is one that he's been, he's moved on and a lot of people consider him a bust, but he was really good as a rookie, and he gets hurt and that kind of throws him off. He hasn't really been the same since. That's not on the GM to me. I can't put that on him for that. So when it comes down to, Van Ness out of Iowa and some of the other D-line guys that they've invested in early in the draft, I think that's where Goot's comments were coming from this past week, where he was really saying that we have the guys in the room to do what we need. And I think that's a direct indictment on the coaching, which they did get rid of the previous D-line coach and replaced him with Christian Covington or something like that, the guy from the Patriots. Looks like he's going to be an excellent D-line coach. He's got a pretty strong track record. I lean on that side of things right now. Like, my philosophy is if you've seen guys play well and then they don't play well, that's on coaching. Coaching, their responsibility is to set guys up to be successful and put them in the best position to be successful. And if you've seen guys play at an all-pro level and all of a sudden they look like they stink and you're their coach, like that's not good for you. That's not a good sign on you. So like Kenny Clark, for example, we've seen him play, at top of the league in interior D line, and for him to not play well last year, it was, he got paid, now he's lazy. Like, get out of here, man. Like, that guy's been a monster his whole career. I think he got put out of place, with a coach that's probably getting over his skis. And I think that Goot has the best view of that, right? And you're never going to get a GM that outwardly says, it's the coach's fault. But man, he got about as close as you get to saying that by saying, like, we have the guys here. And I think he's right. There's a lot of talent in the room.
I'll take Kenny Clark any day.
I would too.
Yeah, I am not in any hurry to get rid of that guy. Or Van Ness for that matter. I mean,
Van Ness was a measurables guy anyway.
Yes.
You pick, so you got to develop him. And with the changing of the defensive coordinator, that had to be some type of, hindrance to his development because it's a different scheme. So he was a measurables guy anyway. It was, so give him a time, give him a chance.
I think that's what you got to do. You got to give these guys some time.
So we'll see.
Exactly. And so yeah, I'm not I'm in Goot we trust right now, man. I certainly believe in all the guys in that room. I don't think that there's a D lineman or a linebacker or an edge guy in that room right now where I'm just like, oh gosh, I wish we could just get rid of this guy. He's dead weight or whatever. And there have been those guys at times. I just think that there's a lot of guys you got to get their potential, and it's going to be a really strong group.
Yeah. What about, is there still kind of chatter about that lineman they drafted last year in the draft?
Jordan Morgan?
Yeah. I mean, he still has a lot.
Yeah, he got hurt too.
Right?
It's one of those things. Like, I got hurt. You can't just call him a bust because he got hurt, which some fans are ready to do.
Yeah.
No, I expect him back. He looks like he's going to be healthy and back. So he'll be in competition for that right guard spot, I think, immediately. But a lot of folks are looking ahead a little bit and thinking that he might be competing with Rasheed Walker for the left tackle spot. So that'll be an interesting one to watch. But he's certainly not somebody to write off. And I think some people already have. It's just not the right thing to do. Guy got hurt. Guys get hurt every year in the NFL. They also come back and play well too, So I fully expect him to do that and should be basically like getting a redshirt year out of him. You got another first-round pick adding to that line.
Speaking of shirt, obviously, we want to bring up the Lions fan, seventh letter wearing a Lakers jersey, absolutely, classic Kobe. So I get it. Also, that's
Kobe 8 too.
Yeah,
I'm gonna really bust your ass with that.
We're definitely we're gonna hype this up. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it happen. We have to live stream it something, and definitely have to put a poll out and see who, how many points do people think that I'm actually gonna score here? So
nothing. You're not gonna score.
Well, if I have Miles as my coach, I think I can do quite well. So
we could pair up. We can make this happen. I'm
coaching matters.
We got that 5'10" energy. We can make that happen.
Coaching matters. We talked about that.
I'm not that type of person, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not like, rest in peace to my baby, man. But never beat. I wouldn't.
You never let him beat you. Okay.
Ever.
Can't let him beat you. Can't do it.
Ever.
Can't do it.
I never looked at my father the same after I beat him.
Damn.
Like what?
Well, speaking of jersey, Dre, you have Skullman, you have changed into yours. So let's go ahead and hear from you. And is that I'm guessing that's either a Marbury or a Garnett classic jersey.
Yeah, you're right.
There you go. I saw him. Yeah, I lived in Minnesota at that time, and I watched him hit a game winner 3 ball. So hey, Garnett was versatile, almost like I am. So, Coleman, what are some top roster holes?
I'm just gonna keep going. I'll say the bet. I think when it comes to the Vikings, I think the holes. Honestly, the biggest thing regarding any of our positions, it's all depth at this point. We've obviously the biggest one is quarterback. We obviously need depth there. we have in our mind like a lot of the interviewers when it comes to like KOC down in Florida right now or wherever they're having those meetings. Like they're pretty much sold on JJ to be the starter, but right now we don't have a backup. Same thing that goes with DBs. We have a few good ones, obviously, on the roster. Depth, center, offensive lineman. We obviously signed some really good ones in the offseason. But again, depth. Where does that go? Yeah, you want next man up, obviously, a lot of those things. But if we don't have them, I mean, it can't happen. So I think like that's where like I would prefer them to go in the draft. Obviously, with the Vikings, they have a very limited amount of picks this year. So I think that they have to be very strategic, whether it's via trade or whatever other plans that they have to keep their comp picks up for next year. I think like there's like a rumor out there that they're going to go for the guy from San Diego. Why am I blanking on his name right now? But anyway, they're Asante Samuel Jr. They're thinking of like picking him up, but like I think the thing is that they don't want to sign him because it has to do with the comp picks for next year, which I'm not 100% like sure of all those back end stuff, but that's one of the big reasons. Like allegedly they have like a handshake deal, so we'll see how that goes. But I would imagine, especially at this point, it's kind of a similar type of thing with Rodgers, even though I don't want him. I think it's kind of along the same lines, unfortunately, but we'll see what happens there, especially with, again, it's pretty much the Steelers and Minnesota at this point to see what happens. We'll see. I don't know. But if I had to pick like a position that they should go for in the draft, I think it's DB. I think there's obviously a lot of like talent there. Originally I was a running back, but I think like obviously given Jordan Mason coming over, it's not going to be a high priority there. And there's a deep talent at DB. So I think like I think we have like, as of right now, 4 picks. So we got to be selective. And I think like they're not going to try for linemen. If they do, it's going to be, I think, best player available, if anything. But I would personally go for some DBs. I have my favorites, obviously, but it all depends on who's available and who gets selected before them. So we'll see what happens there.
Who do you like?
I think like if I had to pick by the time they would get to the Vikings and no trades happening really, I would say Porter from I think it's Iowa State, if I remember correctly. I think like he's pretty nasty. Like he has a really, like his arm length is really big, and then he also has a really good vertical, which I think that's gonna like bring a lot. And because he was I think what I've been reading about him is that he was a wide receiver first. So I think that's something that we really need. I think is like that. Like I love Murphy. I love who they picked up. They're not like big DBs. We haven't had like a significant one really since Rhodes, who obviously had a really good time like initially, and then he obviously kind of fell off a little bit. But I loved him when he was that, and we haven't really had that since then, really. So I think Porter, if he falls and he's the best player available, I think like he could be picked up. Or and excuse me if I pronounce this incorrectly, but Imanowari, I think he's a safety.
Imanowari,
yeah, I think he could be really, really good. Especially, I mean, I know they're bringing back Harrison Smith, but again, going back to depth, safety wise, yeah, we have like a good amount. Like we have one that we just like re-signed, and then obviously Metellus is good, but like it's just those 3 really. And so depth, I think, is again going back to that. That's where we have to really build on, because Harrison Smith, as much as I love him, he's not going to go much more. I think maybe this is his last season. If he's able to come back, like I love him so much that I wouldn't mind it. But as we continue on, his playing ability is definitely going to go down for sure. So they got to plan for that.
that's what I and this is me saying something nice about the Packers. All right. I feel like the Packers draft before they need, right. And have players kind of ready to step in when some of those veterans have to retire or move on, and they move on from players pretty quickly. But yeah, I think that's a good point. Like, obviously you've got Harrison Smith, like but you want to plan for the future. You're not just planning for right now, you're planning for the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and especially, I mean, they tried obviously with Steen,
yeah,
and that obviously that didn't work out, which kind of sucks, obviously. But and they obviously lost not Dancer, whatever, what his name is, the dancing one, the Filipino one. He was good too, but he got paid. It was business. I understand it. I mean, it was fine.
He's all right.
I liked him a lot. I think he had a decent play, but again, like he wasn't at the same level as Harrison Smith. It's hard really to get at that level. But so they do have to plan for the future, and I think like that's given that they do have like obviously some pieces in play. Like Metellus, he's nasty. He can play all over the field, which is a rare talent, I think. So I think they have to. Harrison Smith's not going to last forever, and so they have to find somebody. And Amanda Worry could be that, but again, he would have to come in and not be starting right away unless he's able to earn it, which is slightly different from a lot of the other first rounders. Is that I think like unless they go like straight up corner, I don't think like any of them will be starting like right away, just because we already have like of the positions that we need, we have the starters. So they would have to be relatively okay with that. So, I mean, there's plenty of DBs that they could select from, like going into the second day 2 and stuff too. So it's kind of, I think first round is either tradable or if they're best player available, what they need. And
so
go from there.
Seventh letter. This is, we got Miles and we got Dre both saying their teams are drafting for depth, like they've won the division. It's been a little bit. So this is weird. Next thing you know, I'm going to be saying the Bears are drafting for depth, right?
Don't get ahead of yourself now.
You still need a left tackle.
Before we get to the Bears, I want to give you seventh letter a chance on the Lions. Obviously, do you feel like the Lions, we talked about this kind of in the past, that you kind of drafting for depth as well?
Yeah. I think I do think we need this might sound crazy, but I do think in the first round we need to probably find a receiver. They're gonna take Jameson Williams' 5th-year option, and I just think we're not going to resign them. Receivers are really expensive. So I do think some of the people that we're going to lose, we have to start replacing them. And I think that we should probably go for what JMO gives us is dynamic, but I do think I would prefer someone a little bit more like somebody that's going to be at the catching after practice and all that. Like he's a good kid, just immature, and I think he's the only guy on my team that I don't trust to do the right thing in a clutch moment. Like that's why I know Ben Johnson sabotaged us by calling him to throw with the trick play. Like he sabotaged.
Come on now, no way.
Out of all people,
no,
I'm to do that. Like don't use him. His dumb ass gonna throw it. You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta replace some linebackers. I gotta replace some safeties. I definitely prefer like just go crazy on pass rushers, but I think that with Aiden coming back, I think that'll cover a lot. You know what I'm saying? And that was a freak accident that happened last year. So hopefully he'd be able to continue at the level he was playing at. He was about to be defensive player of the year.
Yeah, he was playing really well.
Yeah, hopefully we can get a trade for Trey Hendrickson, but if not, I think we should just draft a lot of pass rushers. I can't really. You got to think like we won the division 2 years in a row. Like I don't think that we need that much. But I mean, if you want to go depth, yeah, we can go there if you want. But we was picking up people off the streets and they was kind of performing, outside of their, their skill set, and they looked a little bit better than what they really were until the playoffs came. So
what did we talk about? What did we just say earlier?
What?
Coaching matters, and now you don't have your coaches. So hey,
coaching does matter.
You're about to see. I can't wait till he throw 1,000 times for you. I can't wait.
I
can't wait. He gonna get on your nerves the same way he got on mine. Like you know what I'm saying? He gonna get on your nerves the same.
We're gonna have the "I told you so" episode. It's gonna be
good. Like he gonna do the same.
I think I've had a few of those actually. I think, but hey,
I just really can't forgive him for that, yo. Like I can't forgive him for that. I cannot forgive him for that. Like we're averaging 9 yards a carry. Why are you passing the ball? That's like virtually a pass. You know what I'm saying?
It really is.
Like 9 yards a running play. Why are you passing? Like I just can't forgive Ben Johnson for that. And he looks terrible. He hasn't even been sleeping. Like
he does. Like, he looks like he's aged like a ton since when
he was the president or something. Like he looks older. Like he did 4 years of the president of the United States.
Is that like an indictment on the state of the Bears or what? What's going on there?
Well, maybe. I mean, let's go ahead and get in on that. So, obviously, Bears have. I'm gonna say we still do have some holes. The biggest one before we kind of get into players and stuff. The biggest thing, obviously, the news recently is the stuff on the stadium. It's the biggest hole. I think trying to figure out where our stadium is going to be. If they've just obviously Kevin Warren saying we're just where we need to be, we're right exactly where we thought we would be. All that stuff is kind of like coach speak, right? Your negotiation, all that stuff. They just need to pull the trigger and do the Arlington Heights because there's so much that they can build there. Obviously, I'm not from Chicago. Right. So I'm not married to the fact that, we have to be downtown, but even the renderings of the stadium that they were going to build, there was no parking. Like it was just logistically, I don't know how it could work. So it just, it makes sense. Obviously, I think maybe financially if they get, money from the city or state or whatever to help. But it makes more sense to do the Arlington Heights and just, get going on it before 2025, is over. So that's one of the biggest holes. Any thoughts on that before I kind of get into some of the roster holes?
Well, y'all first game gonna be in my backyard. You know what I'm saying? So, you ain't getting that stadium ever.
Are you ladies gonna have a roof too? Are you gonna leave one real man left in this?
Yeah, really
I hope so. I hope so. I am all about the roof. Give me the roof.
Yeah. Please give them a roof. Take away that home field advantage. You go right on ahead.
There's no advantage. New division. I'm gonna have to go to the AFC North.
Take away that home
hang out with real football players.
No, I want to see. Look what Caleb did in Detroit. He basically beat the Lions, right? Basically beat the Lions.
But he did.
I mean, you could say he played well.
There you go.
In the second half. Hold on. He played well until it mattered.
No. When it mattered, he played well.
He didn't win.
No, he didn't. He got sacked 3 times.
Whose fault was that?
Him holding the ball up. Him not calling timeout.
Him. That's coaching.
He can call timeout. He knows better. He can do
He got Eberflused.
Man, he got scared.
But he also did exactly what we said he would do coming out of college, which is improvise and try to hold on the ball too long.
Well, yeah. I mean, the question was, on coaching, right? Coaching matters. He was watching film on his own, and aside from coaches, how ridiculous is that, right?
Andy, did you have called timeout?
I didn't know that.
Would I have called timeout
as the quarterback?
As a quarterback,
the beloved Chicago Bears.
I know where you're leading on this one. Yes, I would have.
Yes, you would have called timeout. He should have called it too. Get out of here, man.
He should have.
He lost. And what happened in the next game? He got blew out at home. You know what I mean? Come on, man.
The last game of the season, he beat the Packers. So
Justin
that was
Fields
amazing.
played better against us than he did.
Oh,
touche.
Jeez.
Oh,
He did.
okay.
He did.
Well,
He did.
He did.
so
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
Caleb Williams is a rookie. Caleb Williams, or not. Hey, and talking about the Bears, obviously roster holes. One of the biggest things, running back. Obviously people are talking about Ashton Genty and all of that, and that's kind of the sexy pick, right? And I don't know about you and kind of what you've looked at, Miles, but I'm hearing like Virginia Tech, and I'm going to probably not say his name right, but Bashul Tweten in later rounds might be a good pickup for the Bears. I wouldn't mind if the Bears pick up Ashton Genty in number 10, right? But I think that is pretty high pick for something I think the Bears can find a better pick kind of later on. The one thing, it's going to be interesting, and it's not even on this.
Do that. Let him walk.
Let Ashton Genty walk.
Don't pick one of the best running backs in the last 5 years. Don't do that.
He's good. He's good.
I was going to say,
he's the only one getting the ball.
What pick did the Lions get Jahmyr Gibbs with?
Thank you.
It was like 12, wasn't it?
Yes.
10 or 12.
That's the only thing. He's really small.
He is one of the best running backs to come out of college in the last 5 years.
Yes. He's good.
Don't even
small,
think about
right?
his size. Watch him run.
Yeah, he's good.
Well, speaking of that, some other okay, we have other needs. If offensive lineman, edge rusher, best player available. If we have the opportunity to trade back, there are some other players, and maybe you might know a little bit more about them. It's kind of looking at Jalen Walker, Calvin Banks. These other players that the Bears can get, as opposed to maybe going for Ashton Genty, even running back Omarion Hampton out of North Carolina, I believe. Right? That might be an option. So there are other players that they can kind of get a little bit later on. Here's the name that's kind of interesting, that's kind of been floating around Chicago radio, but the tight end.
Do that. Yeah, do that.
And either the guy out of Penn State or there's a guy in Michigan.
They
could kind of go there. But what I like,
this is
what I like about Ben Johnson. What I'm excited about Ben Johnson is that he can find some of these players and put them in the right position to be successful. And that's been the problem with coaching for the Bears, is getting good players, but not putting them in the right position. If they go Genty, I'm not going to be mad at it all. But here we go. Tugboat Tweten is a real good running back. I don't know if that's his nickname or if he just said that. So I'll take that.
I don't know.
But hey, so I mean, there's some options at the Bears. That's what I'm just saying. I mean, you guys seem to be sold on Ashton Genty, number 10, no matter what.
He's the truth.
Really?
Yeah,
Absolutely, dude. He is.
I'm worried if you got Ashton Genty.
I don't think he'll fall to 10. I think you'd have to trade up to get him.
Yeah,
really?
I'm with that.
He's very good.
Yo, he's very good.
He's not one of those guys that you pass on if you're in that range. I mean, and it may be confusing to some, but I mean, it's the same energy that the Lions had when they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, but it's more, right?
Yeah.
Like he is. I don't like using the word generational talent because I think we've screwed that up a lot, but like,
yes,
he's in that category for running backs.
Has he been?
That's good.
Has he been just run too hard in college, though? That's what I worry about with running backs.
See the way he's built?
Yeah, man. 5'9", 215. That is a stout dude.
Yeah, you see the way he built?
I kind of like Josh Jacobs is built for it. Some guys are just built for it. He seemed like one of those guys.
I'll take Tugboat Tweten.
You go ahead and take Tugboat to it. And get blew out again next year and be 4-12 again. Go get Tugboat too. Do that. I can't wait to beat your ass in all phases of life next year.
When you think of, the Bears are coming up. Obviously, you get some other edge prospects. What do you know about Nick Scourton as an edge prospect, Miles? Have you heard much about him?
So not as much. I have heard, what most people have heard about him, right? There's just general chatter that comes around. We're doing our edge and interior D-line episode next week, so I'm starting
shout out.
to get
There.
ready for these
Yeah.
guys. But we can get kind of close here. I actually am more interested in his teammate Shamar Stewart from A&M.
Oh, okay.
He's 6'4", 285. Shamar Stewart 6'6", 290 is what I'm showing on PFF. I think he might have been a little lighter than that at the combine. But yeah, Shamar Stewart is in the freak category athletically. And I know the knock on him is the lack of production, but just, I guess, historically by the data, the guys that do well at the edge position going into the NFL are the guys that are the physical freaks, not necessarily the production machines in college. So when you're talking about Scorton and Shamar Stewart, I think Scorton had a lot more production. I'd look at Shamar Stewart and he's a physical freak, and I wouldn't overthink it. But maybe I think that's a little early for the Bears. That might be,
number
you might
10.
trade back in. You could. That's why we love the draft, right? It's super unpredictable. But a guy like that, just with his measurables alone, might have launched himself into that top 15, top 10 range, just because that's what teams do.
10.10 PFF score.
Yeah, I mean, he's a freak.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull up that RAS score of his.
Joseph throwing in here, Josiah Stewart, pass rush savant. So I mean, we have some options. I don't know much about him, and I'm still kind of getting into draft stuff too. But when I look at kind of the needs, obviously the Bears need top end talent at some of these player positions, and so like the 10 is an interesting spot, right? I know you guys are all sold on the outside for Ashton Genty, and I would be too. But when I think of like other positions to get top end talent, and just can't miss talent, I get it. Ashton Genty is probably that can't miss talent, right? But there's some other positions that I'd rather just like shore up, and that includes the trenches. I mean, in the draft we've done, or in the free agency we've done that. That's how you build a team. I mean, Seventh Letter, this like from the outside in. I mean, from the trenches out. I mean, that's kind of like how you build the best teams, right?
True indeed, definitely. I think you're good in the trenches, except on the offensive line. But now that's gotten better.
That has, yeah.
You guys have done a lot on the O-line this offseason.
I think your defense is good. I just think the injuries kind of hurt y'all last year and made y'all, but y'all was kind of good defense.
You probably need another corner, right?
Keep them on the field all game, and then eventually offenses will figure that out. But if the offense was scoring along with how well the defense was playing before the injuries hit, you would have had a couple blowouts. To be honest, because the defense was holding up pretty well, getting the ball back and everything. I don't know what else you could ask the defense to do. I don't think you had that much. You might need another pass rusher. You got your 3-tech. You good. You good.
So you brought up like cornerback, and I think we're set on cornerback. Obviously, it'll be interesting to see kind of Tyreek Stevenson and what he takes and the next this season as well. That step, obviously, not being just a complete idiot, right? That's not going to happen again. Like that's not going to happen again. Not with this coaching staff, and that's what I like. Coaching matters, right? What's that?
You can always hope.
Oh, I mean, you can hope, right? Obviously, thankfully,
winning heals all.
That's right.
It does. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, not only winning, but when you have coaches that are going to, hold players accountable, that wasn't happening with Eberflus. I mean, I was hoping it would, but you could tell, like even in Hard Knocks, that he was just kind of there for, here's my house. Let's be the buddy. Let's be the buddy, guys. No, you got to be more than that. Like you got to be about, the fundamentals and all those things. It was clear that the Bears were not there.
It's all right. We gonna beat your ass again this year too. Can't wait.
Stupid not to take Genty. So
yeah, I don't know that he gets to you, but you can't pass up on Genty if he gets to you.
Yeah, not Genty. You got a dynamic quarterback. You get a dynamic running back. You got a top 10 receiver. I don't know what's the problem. I don't know why you overthinking this, man. Don't overthink it.
Yeah. And then go find yourself a tackle in the second round. Yeah. You
and he's not he's not a hard-headed, like he's not a headache or nothing. He's a good guy. So he go, you know what I'm saying? Like this isn't Jalen Carter. You know what I'm saying? This is a pretty good guy that you drafted. That's
solid slam dunk.
Dynamic and talented. When people get long runs, that's vision. And when you're not a blazing speed and can't nobody catch you from behind, like your football, like this is a different type of monster. If you get that on your team, that's trouble. Shit, you're gonna have him for 4 or 5 years because you ain't gonna be able to resign him after you resign Caleb.
Please let him pass, Skull Vikings. Thanks, Narcissus.
I'm telling you.
So when we're looking at draft, between the division teams, which team do we think is going to be the most surprising team in this division as far as like who they pick and position wise? I mean, Miles, you think it's gonna be the Lions? I mean, it always has been.
Yeah, because what are we gonna do? What do we need? We're gonna say we want to get a pass rusher. I imagine the pass rushers will be gone. So we're gonna pick like a receiver or something crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like I just kind of got this kind of like we always kind of go like we knew we were going corner last year. There were several corners that you could pick. This year it ain't the same. Although I do think we need another corner. But I think we're gonna go receiver in the first round. If one of those Blazers fall down. Because I do think like our offense is predicated on the explosive and we need a blazer. And I don't think we're going to resign Jameson Williams. So we got to find his replacement. You know what I mean? So I do think that we'll probably go receiver early. So I think that'll surprise everybody because they're going to say, pass rusher, you should have got this bum-ass pass rusher. That's a pass rusher. So you should have just drafted him because he's a pass rusher. But he don't fit the scheme. You know what I'm saying? That's how we draft. It'll be us. It'll be us.
That makes sense.
I'm really curious though with the Vikings because I think how they draft, right? Or maybe if you trade back, and I think this is for most teams, right? How they draft will tell you what they think about the team, right? How far they are away from winning, how much do they really believe that JJ McCarthy is a guy? Obviously, Norcephus, you think we're all going to be scared by him, and I mean, is it this way? The handoff. I'm not really scared of the JJ McCarthy handoff, because who does he have? He's got Aaron Jones, right? I mean, but I don't know. I mean. What do you think, Dre, as far as, I mean, obviously you're hyped for McCarthy, but I think you're pretty level-headed to think, maybe he's not going to be like a superstar Sam Darnold right away. I can't believe I just said that. Superstar Sam Darnold.
Better than Sam Darnold.
He's better than Sam Darnold?
Oh, yeah.
No. Yeah, I mean, I think statistically he is. I wouldn't say I'll still say I don't think Sam Darnold's a superstar level either, but I think I think McCarthy has a lot of his ceiling's high. I think that at the end of the day is where it comes down to. And I think we don't know. I mean, we've talked about it before. He did a lot of handing off at Michigan. And he did spread the ball around relatively well, but I do think that he didn't have a Jefferson there. I think that's the thing that is a little obviously chemistry matters, all that. But at the same time, you go back to the Raiders preseason game last year, when Jefferson was talking, I think it was in the third quarter when McCarthy actually came in, he was already hype about that. And there was a stream that he was doing playing Madden, Jefferson, I think, is already hyped up on McCarthy. I think that is where a lot of the chemistry is going to come from.
I mean, he was hyped up on Kirk too. He was hyped up on. I mean, that's what he's got to say. I get it. I mean, because he makes whatever quarterback he's with better. That's just what he does. The crazy thing I saw too, and I don't know if you're following this as well, but and I don't know what he would net, but I hear that was Viking Central or someone was floating around to trade Jordan Addison. Like that's just crazy to me. Like, why would you do that?
I think the main it has to do with like, I think it's because there's a lot of potential there too, and I think it's if they want to trade him, like I mean, he's on a low deal. There's a lot of upside to that trade. I think generally speaking.
Like why? I mean, and why trade away one of your best receivers when you're trying to get your rookie quarterback a ton of like I don't know, just you want him to do well. You want him. That just to me that would be crazy talk. I mean, Miles, you don't think it's that
I agree.
I think it's not a bad idea. I mean, my question is, are you going to pay Addison? Probably not. And I think the Bengals are going to answer that question for everybody going off and doing what they just did. And I know they made fans happy with shiny objects and all that, but going and paying two receivers over $100 million is just crazy, man.
That's nuts.
There's no evidence that receivers win you Super Bowls. None.
The thing is, Addison though hasn't put up the same numbers as like the Bengals have. Like I think that's the big thing is that like he hasn't like shown himself in a wide receiver one level money. I think that's the biggest thing that's. Like, I'm not saying he's not good. I don't want them to trade him. I think he's real. Like, I love him as a wide receiver, too. I do think if he has a breakout year, I don't disagree with you. I think it's going to be hard to pay him that, especially when, obviously, Jefferson is face of the franchise at this point and arguably, kind of face of at least the NFC North, I would say, like, minimally.
He's pretty
like, just good. Based. Yeah, like, you can't deny it. So it's trying to like even try to pay somebody separate, like even in like Cincinnati situation, that's not the case here. Yeah, obviously, both the receivers are really good. I have obviously no issues with them. We talked about it kind of last week, but it's Jefferson. I think is on a different level, and a little biased, I'll admit, but I think
he is.
Yeah. So it's one of those things that like I understand what fans are saying that like I think that there is some benefit to trading him. Having said that, I would rather have him because you got to have somebody decent enough to when they double Jefferson. Like you have to have a decent two with him, and I think like that's why you keep him around at least and see where he falls on the negotiation situation. And if anything, Kwesi has shown that if somebody's demanding too much, it's like, yeah, bye. Like we're done. Like I mean, he has drawn that line pretty adamantly in the past few years.
So I want to address this. Obviously, we've got a great back and forth between Joseph and Norcephus about JJ. I went to the Big Ten championship game, saw it live, versus Iowa, and Iowa was missing several defensive starters, and it took him. I mean, they barely kind of got out of that game. If Iowa wasn't inept on offense, it would have actually been a game, and Iowa would have won that game, which is crazy to think. Looking back at the rosters, and then Michigan won the national championship. Crazy to think that, JJ, I get it, win, he's a winner, whatever.
That's what I'm saying. That's very important, though. It's very important. I don't
think,
Michigan didn't win until he got there. He didn't win.
But it wasn't him, I don't think. I think that it was more on Harbaugh and him having the pieces in place. JJ McCarthy, very good. But is he going to be able to be that superstar quarterback? I mean, it just, you don't need
him to be a superstar. You just need him to throw the ball.
Well, the same thing with Herbert, though. Herbert did not have like when in San Diego or LA at this point. Herbert didn't have like a breakout year. Like he once he got Harbaugh. So With KOC, like he made Darnold look good.
You mean the big KOC?
Yeah.
Well, I'm down for the big KOC. He's
man.
I love that. JJ. Okay, yeah. So this
Lions
what
golf
do you got?
pick.
What are those? Oh, golf. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
Oh, is it too?
What's your ass in that too?
Is it too soon to say they'll snap like JJ or Hutchinson?
Wow.
Jeez. It's getting dark here, man.
Too soon. Sorry.
Yeah. That's me.
That was bad. That was bad.
That was my
bad.
Super Bowl right there, man.
That was. Maybe this year.
15-2 though, man.
The window's not closed.
It's
6-0 in the division, man. Relax.
So North Cephas, JJ's obviously a little bit rose-colored glasses for JJ. I get it. I've been that way with my quarterbacks before, right? As we talked about Justin Fields and all that, but JJ was receivers at Michigan, not world shattering names, right? Okay, so yeah, receivers matter. Okay, so he's got JJ to JJ. I think that's going to be good, but you got to play the games. I mean, you got to get in those moments and see if you can actually step up. Obviously, I think Jared Goff had issues at the Rams, right? Like there was a reason why they got rid of him. What's that?
Coaching matters, man. Jared Goff looked like a dummy as a rookie under Jeff Fisher, and then McVay got his hands on him and went to a Super Bowl. Like, if that doesn't illustrate coaching matters, I don't know what does.
And then taking the next step when
lost, still got there.
Ben Johnson was
like he was going to be in the league after his rookie year.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of questions. Obviously, JJ McCarthy. I mean, that's going to be really, to me, obviously, I think within the division, because I'm expecting the Packers to draft well and draft needs that we don't know about, from the outside that maybe you know about, right? And we're like, oh, okay, and I'll kind of laugh at that pick because that's what I do. I'm a Packer troll. That's what I do. Lions,
bring it.
The Lions are going to draft for need. There's going to, obviously depth. My Bears. It's clear what we have need for, right? The Vikings, I don't know. I mean, Dre, you were surprised by the season, right? 2024, how that went, like that you were good.
Oh, 100%. I was surprised. I think I've said it here, and if I haven't, I'll say it now. I mean, I've told friends, like, I would have been happy with an 8 or 9 win season going into last season. Like I would have been fine. If we had a winning season, I was good. Like I did not expect much. It was.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to say. Like, I think to me, it'll be a surprise as far as like the Vikings, like where does that coaching staff think that the team can go? I mean, Miles, when you look at the Vikings, I mean, is this a roster right now like that Dre is saying is kind of like just needs depth? I mean, how would you kind of assess the Vikings roster?
You're me?
Yeah, from the outside.
Sorry, I missed that part. Yeah, I mean, they're in better shape than at the beginning of the season last year. Last year felt like y'all were just going off the rails, and it was just unfortunate things. Like, one player passed away, like that. That's crazy stuff.
Bad luck.
I think they're a step closer to where they want to be. I think last year was just sort of a really good patchwork job. Right. You got Darnold in there. You got a few other things. You held the pieces together and it worked really well under KOC. And at one point in the year, I even tweeted, like, I didn't even want to like it, but he had that one leadership moment with Darnold and, where and it's just like, dang, it's just like, that's really good. People want to play for a guy like that. So yeah, I mean, I think the Vikings are definitely closer to like their longer term sustainable kind of form of a team that they're working towards. But I'd almost expect them to take a step backwards, get JJ McCarthy in there, rip the Band-Aid off, like start building that young nucleus that's going to be the next 5 to 10 years. And, I go back to like having probably like an 8 to 9 win season here. but you probably accomplish a lot. You get some younger players, some experience. Like you're saying, you don't have a lot of draft picks. That's where I'm like, move Addison, get some more draft picks for him. Don't sign him. Don't have that salary cap liability in the future. Things like that. But like, do I think the Vikings are poised to go win the division this year? I think that's going to be tough. And it's not because the Vikings aren't good. I think it's just a really tough division that's going to continue to up the ante. I mean, the Bears are definitely getting better. The Packers, I think, obviously I'm biased, but yeah, I think we're getting better. Guys are maturing. They're going to add some good bodies in the draft. But, and the Lions aren't going anywhere. It's going to be a really tough division.
I think that I think that the Vikings, I just wasn't really, I didn't really believe in like them losing Kirk Cousins as that big of a deal. So I didn't see them as badly as everyone else did, because basically they played with that defense the year before last without the personnel they had this year, and they were even better this year. But it was okay last year until they figured them out, and that was in late in the season when people finally figured it out. Yeah. So with more dynamic players on defense now, they were going to be better. And Sam Darnold played out of his mind, and they drafted a quarterback. And KLC is pretty good with quarterbacks, so. I didn't think that they were that far off. To be honest, I didn't think we'd be 15-2. So,
one stinky
14-3.
One stinky thing that I'm just catching now as I kind of put up the Viking schedule here. An interesting matchup, and obviously we'll see when the schedule is released. But a really interesting matchup here is going to be JJ McCarthy if he does assume the reins as the. Yes, against Chargers. That would be a really interesting matchup. Obviously, Harbaugh versus his former quarterback. He'll know kind of. Presumably, it'll be later on the season, but who knows? With the schedule, so that'll be kind of interesting to see. And that's an away opponent as well. So we all have really difficult schedules, I think, this year. But obviously, the Vikings have a tough one here too.
Yeah, it's not a friendly schedule.
So we better than them. We only lost to each other. I mean, except for
it's true.
You know what I mean?
Except for one of us.
Yeah, except for one against y'all, where y'all gave them one.
Well, all right. So home opponents are the Lions.
Mr. Caskey's last,
Yeah,
it's a classy thing to do.
It's a classy thing to do. The Lions may be facing Aaron Rodgers. How about that?
I love an Aaron Rodgers match.
We own him, yeah. We own Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Own?
Yeah, man. We got him out. We the one got him out the division. Don't ever forget that.
That's true. That was a 3-interception game. Actually, thank you for that.
He said, "Man, these Lions getting good. I'm out."
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
that helped accelerate our future process there.
Yeah, I'm out, man.
This is really gonna be. I'm really curious our schedule, and we'll get into it more kind of coming up. Obviously, draft, all that stuff's coming. But like when you look at some of our opponents, Commanders, Eagles, Bengals, Ravens, Lions are going to have a tough schedule. We're all going to have tough schedules. I mean, let's put up the Packer one here for a second. Let me see if I can find that. Packer home.
This is bad.
Yeah, that's no cakewalk.
No,
the Commanders, I think, are going to be like.
Commanders will be tough.
That's going to be a tough one.
Look at that.
Road
opponents. Can't wait to see who?
The Commanders. Can't wait.
Oh man, I would really love it if Rodgers were starting for the Steelers in that one. That'd be
good. Yeah, that would be box office as well. I think it sounds like he's leading toward he's going to, right? I fell for the April Fool's Day joke that Kirk Cousins was going to the Steelers. So, but maybe that'll still happen. Maybe.
Oh, it was April Fool's?
It was April Fool's. Yes.
Oh,
I know. I thought I was breaking something.
Thinking his booty ass went there. So did Tyreek Hill go to the Cowboys for real?
No, that was probably.
No, I'm in the DFW market. I would have heard that one.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right, cool. I was worried. Somebody said that to me last night. Like, oh my God, you
No,
serious?
I would have heard
Not
that.
Don't sleep
I
on my
don't
Bears.
I don't trust any NFL news on April 1st. It doesn't matter what it is.
Don't-
I was questioning even Calais Campbell like going on a 1-year deal to like the Arizona.
Oh, was
like,
that
I don't
real?
even
Is that
trust
real?
it.
Is that real?
That one's actually
That was
real, but like I was just
Okay.
like, I don't
All
even
right.
trust this.
Don't sleep on my Bears, though. Look at this home. I mean, we on paper have an easier schedule than all of y'all. The
Yeah,
Saints,
that's actually not as
Giants,
bad.
Raiders. Maybe the Niners are down.
Yeah, you've got
Lions,
a couple potential softies on yours.
Lions are probably down. So
Where's this? That was your takeaway from this one.
I just think it's like it's two teams, the NFC East, that is going to be like arguably some of our difficult matchups. I think it's the obvious two in the NFC East. Like the other two, no, but the Eagles and Commanders, those away games, like one going to Philly is difficult, like in itself, and obviously Super Bowl, like that's, and then the Commanders they're fighting for it now. Obviously, like they have like the team, so. Going into Washington for that is going to be, it's going to be tough, and especially for Bears fans, that one's going to be tough, especially since last year happened.
Receivers will Keenan be back or be sent packing. I mean, I think we've talked about this in multiple episodes. Get him out of here. I don't want Keenan. Even if they sign him for $1, I don't want him. I don't want him. No.
Oh, you should.
He gone.
No, he gone. I think it was on maybe it was on April Fool's. I saw that he was going to reunite with the Chargers. So that might be the case. We'll see how that works. But lots to come kind of in the weeks here. As we close out, obviously we talked about a lot of draft stuff, and in the coming weeks, I think we'll probably do our mock draft. It's tough right now to do a mock draft. When do you start doing your mock drafts, Miles?
I do typically one.
Okay.
Right before the draft. Now this year, I wanted a benchmark, so I did one before I started all of my draft study. I think it was right after the Senior Bowl, so no combine data. It was just Senior Bowl, Shrine Bowl stuff. So I did one there, and then I'll do one right before the draft and see kind of how they compare. But I don't really get into it because they're kind of fun, right? It's fun to play with, but it just doesn't really tell you anything. It just tells you what other people are picking, and
excited.
So So I try not to get too caught up into the mock draft stuff.
Well, this has been a fun episode tonight. Definitely appreciate you coming on, Miles. Where can everyone find you as we close out?
Absolutely appreciate it, man. Always enjoy coming on with you fellas. You can find me on the Packers Talk Network YouTube channel, Monday night, streaming live 9:30 p.m. Central. We are talking all pack, and right now we're in the middle of all the draft prospect breakdowns. This next week we got D-line and edge rushers. We're going to be going all through them. There's going to be a lot of names we're getting through. So come join us, come hang out, go Pack, go.
Bring your popcorn. That's going to be some good stuff. I am definitely going to be paying attention to that. Bears, I think we need it. So, all right. Now, where can we find you, Dre, as we close out? Oh, did we lose you, Dre? I think
He looks like he's pondering.
He's pondering. I think we lost him. You can find me on NFL Outdated on YouTube, on Twitter X. You can find us on the Freezin 4 pod on TikTok, and he is pondering. I believe he's pondering, is JJ good or not? Oh, there he is. Are you there?
We got him back. We got him.
Dre, can you hear us, Dre? I don't think he can hear us. Well, seventh letter, where can everyone find you? I think where can everyone find you as we close out? Seventh letter.
Yo, seventh letter 4. Twitter X, same OG, Instagram, Facebook, King of the North, fly high, AC baby. I'm still gonna bust your ass when I see you. Andy.
I'm saying, speaking of that, I might have to fly to New Jersey here and play some basketball. we gotta get training though. So
Okay. You can drive to New Jersey. You can fly to New Jersey.
I might have to. I might have
I'll
some
meet
change
you
of
up.
plans coming up soon. So we'll just talk about that. So
Yeah, I will. Whatever.
Stretch out, Andy. Don't hurt yourself.
Stretch out. All right.
I'll pop your Achilles and blame me. Yeah. Fuck Seventh Letter, man. He's no longer part of the show. My son was there.
Oh man.
Dre, we lost you for a second, but as we close out, where can we find you, sir?
You can hit me up on X, Twitter, Facebook, at Skullman Sports. Love talks, everything Vikings, Timberwolves, whatever you want.
All good stuff. Thanks everyone for listening tonight, and we'll catch you next week. Have a great night, everybody.
All right. Y'all be safe, fellas.